I'm Diane Gatsis Havinga. I'm your host for this very special Village in Motion segment. I am thrilled to be with our oldest living Greenspring resident, Louise Skopac, who just celebrated 105 years. My gosh, I bet you're probably the only one who can honestly say that time went really fast.
What did you say? The last.
I said 105 years. Your time must have gone really fast if you think about it.
Yes, I can't think about 105 years. It doesn't seem possible.
And I know you had a big celebration here at, I think it was at Woodland Skies with your family and friends. Did you have any, before the actual date, did you have an opportunity to kind of think about what 105 meant to you?
No, not really. I just go from day to day. And I hadn't really thought much about what it meant to me to be so fortunate as to live for that long and to have good health. I've had some sick spells, of course, but nothing that's been, over a long period of time.
So you have any secrets you can share with us, like what we should be doing or shouldn't be doing?
I don't think I really have any secrets. I've just been blessed with good health, and that's what brought me to this level. And I've been fortunate in my life in that I had a good mother, and I did not have a father at home, but my mother took good care of me, and I had a brother who is not living at this time. So I can't really complain about my life. It's been very interesting. I don't know whether you want me to tell you something about it.
I do indeed. I was going to actually ask you, can you remember the very first memory you have?
No, I don't think I can do that. I mean, I don't think I can remember the memory. But I do remember coming to Washington and going and working for the federal government. I worked for the federal government in Richmond, Virginia. And I had no sooner, I had worked, prior to that time, I had worked with the Travelers Insurance Company. And I came to, this was in Richmond, Virginia, where my home was. And then I had no sooner gotten that job, and they transferred to Washington, which was a big shock because it left my mother alone. And I hesitated about going, but she said, it's your life, you have to go wherever your job takes you.
And what was the time period?
Time period of my...
Of when you went to Washington. Do you remember the year?
Well, no, not really. I'm thinking, when was World War I? World War II.
World War II, so you're talking about the 40s,
yeah,
mid-40s maybe?
Yeah, that era.
Okay.
Right, that era. And so that was when I went to Washington. And I've been here most of the time. And during that time, I've been out of the country. I was in Brazil for 3 years, working for the federal government.
Did you work for the State Department?
Well, presumably so. Actually, I was working with the FBI.
Okay.
But it was under the State Department's supervision. And so I was, like I said, I was in Rio for 3 years, which was a very fine experience. And lots of fun along with lots of hard work.
Were you one of these so-called government girls that they brought in to help during the war effort?
Yeah. Well, I was already working for the FBI at that time. But I opted to go to South America. They sent out a call for women to go on these assignments, and I volunteered to go wherever they would send me. And my assignment happened to be Rio de Janeiro, South America. And it was a fine assignment. There I met my future husband.
In Rio, you met your husband?
And Tony Skopac. I met him, yes, at one of the embassies there where he was working there. I met him there. And, but we were not married a couple of years after we came back to the States, as a matter of fact. So it's been my life has had its ups and downs like most people, most individuals.
Well, you've actually had also a span of what I would consider some amazing inventions in your lifetime. I mean, you went from, if you think about, I mean, Washington, D.C. has totally changed from the time you got here to what it is now. But
oh yes.
Just do you remember your first car?
My first car? No, not really. You know, I don't, you'll be surprised at this, but I've never owned a car myself.
I think you're smart.
I've always had friends, and all my friends had cars, but I never had a car of my own. And my mother never had a car. So I was not brought up with that possession of an automobile. But I always had transportation through my friends.
No, I think that's a smart way to go. So, well, let's talk about entertainment. You went from probably seeing things that were live to television and films.
I went from, what did you say?
Well, I'm assuming that you went to live events for entertainment when you were growing up, and now you can watch 100 different channels on your cable TV.
Oh, yes. It's a whole different world it is today. Yeah. Like you say, it was, well, I remember the time of the little radio, what did you call them?
Wireless. The wireless receivers? Or the...
No, the little radio, I know we didn't have one in our house, so I had to go to my girlfriend's house next door to hear this wonderful machine, which was a little radio.
Right.
And we'd sit on her steps going up to her house and listen to this radio, inside the house, listening to this radio, which was just, to me, a marvelous thing. At that time, I can't remember the year that would have been, when I think about it. You might know.
I'm thinking it's probably the 40s when radio really started to be, in the 50s would have been the golden age of radio.
Yeah.
So did you have a favorite program you would listen to?
No, they always had that Saturday night. I remember some Saturday night program we had. I can't remember what it was, but I know, because we were not allowed to go out in school nights in those days. you had to do your lessons and then go to bed. My mother was very strict, and but on the weekends we could have a little bit more freedom.
What would you say in terms of your memory, the biggest change that happened in your lifetime that really made a difference?
In machines, you mean?
Sure.
I think it would be automobiles. I remember when I lived, I was born in Savannah, Georgia, and I remember we were one of the few families who had an automobile. And I don't know why, because we certainly weren't rich, but we did have a car. And I think that made a big difference in my life, having an automobile in the family.
But you never learned to drive, and you never had, or did you learn to drive?
Oh yes, I learned to drive later. Oh yes. Okay. Oh yes, I can drive. Because when I was married, we had 2 cars in the family. Tony had one and I had one. No, I always had a car. But in the beginning, I didn't did not have an automobile.
And what about inventions in terms of, I'm just, so you went from the radio to, well, actually you probably went from teletype, the telegraph, newspapers, radio, television. I mean, you've pretty much seen it all. Satellites.
You know, you've covered it. You just about covered it. I missed them. What else would there be?
Well, now we have, you know, the smartphone. Did you ever think that your phone would be something you carried with you?
No, I never had any idea. And I don't even understand today, my friends, I have several friends who come in to see me, and they have these, what they call, are they smartphones? Is that what they are?
Yes.
Smartphones. And they can do anything.
So did you have a phone in your house, your own phone, or did you have to share it with someone?
Oh, I didn't have, in my house, no, I didn't have my own phone. You know, at what age are you talking about?
When you were, let's say when you were a teenager.
Oh, no. No, I didn't have my own phone, no. Absolutely not.
So you went to your neighbors or down the street to use the phone?
I see what you mean. I thought you meant my personal phone. No, we had a phone in the house, but I didn't have my personal phone like they have now.
Right, the cell phones.
Everybody has a phone now.
Uh-huh.
But I didn't have my own phone in those days. I did not have it.
Can we talk a little bit about historical events? Because you've gone through, I should have counted how many presidents you've lived, or outlived, shall we say. Do you have a favorite president?
No, not really. I really don't have a favorite. It was a real, of course, the death of Lincoln, of course, that was way back before my time. That was a real tragedy in history. But in my time, I really don't have a favorite, actually.
What about talking about any kind of events that took place? I mean, you lived through World War II, Korea, Vietnam, the wars going on now. I mean, do you have any thoughts for us about those events?
Well, I think it's very unfortunate we have to have those events, and I'd like to see them eliminated if we could. But I don't think there's any way of eliminating war in the world. We seem prone to have wars no matter what. Stated in the Bible, we have wars and wars, which I think is rather unfortunate. Because they never seem to accomplish anything permanent. It's always temporary.
Do you have a philosophy or a way of living that you've lived your 105 years that you've pretty much kept up?
Well, I don't know that I have a philosophy about it, but I think it's being kind and caring of others. You can't live for yourself. If you do, you'll find it's your life very limited. You must live with caring for others. That's the way I've tried to live. I don't know that I've always made it, but I've tried that. And I think if people would do that, we'd have a better world.
Oh, I would agree with you on that. That's a good way to live your life. Try to always be kind and respectful with one another.
Yeah, right. You're not always right yourself, even though you think you are.
Well, I think after 105 years, you could afford to say, I'm right, I've lived longer than you.
Well, it doesn't work that way.
No?
No, it doesn't work that way. It actually doesn't.
What about maybe talking a little bit about social changes? Because again, you've probably experienced lots of changes in society. Anything that strikes you as the biggest change that made a difference in your life?
Well, I'm just trying to think about that. I think there's so much more freedom now for women that has made a big change in my life as well as all other women. The fact that they have so much more freedom to go and come as they please and are not restricted. And I think that's a good thing because even though women have their problems, they still have a lot to give to society. And I'm glad I've had a chance to live in that period of time.
Do you think we're going to have a woman's president before too soon or too long?
Yes, I think very much so. I think maybe your next president will be female. But maybe I'm old. Maybe that's a little soon. But I think that's a great possibility, is having a female president. I don't know how it will work, how the men will like that, but they'll adjust.
So in terms of freedom with women, so I'm assuming that when you started dating, you had a lot more restrictions than a woman today has.
Oh, yes, absolutely. There's so many. I remember once going to New York with a friend of mine, and I had to have his aunt go along. We couldn't go by ourselves.
So did she stay in your room in the hotel?
Yes, she stayed in the same hotel with us. Yeah, we stayed. The man stayed in his own room, and the aunt, this was his aunt, and I stayed in another room. But we couldn't go alone. We couldn't go anywhere alone.
So you couldn't even go to dinner by yourselves?
No.
You had to have a chaperone?
Yeah, I had to have a chaperone. That would be something today, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'll mention that to my two daughters. So
you have 3 daughters?
I have 2 daughters,
2 daughters.
And yeah, I don't go on their dates.
No, I bet you don't. But that's the way it was. Like I say, when I went to New York, my friend's aunt was with us. She supervised everything. But that was the way it was then, you know. And you just accepted that. If you wanted to do something, that's what you did, you know.
And when you were working as a woman versus when you first started your career in Richmond, did you retire with the federal government?
Yeah, I retired with the federal government.
Okay,
yes.
so I'm thinking you worked, what, 30-plus years?
Yes, I think about 33, actually.
33 years.
Yeah, I worked in Richmond with an insurance company, the Travelers Insurance Company. And then I worked, I left the Travelers to go with the FBI. And I worked with them until I retired, the FBI.
So can you remember and talk to us about any changes, any significant changes during that time from when you started to when you ended in terms of being a woman in the workforce?
I really am not conscious, but I'm sure there were a great many changes, but I was never really conscious of that. But I know there must have been many changes. Like I say, I can't think of them at this point. I know I work for the FBI, as you know, and I had some contact with Mr. Hoover, but I did not work for him, but I did have contact. And That's about it, I guess, as far as my association with men in charge in the workforce.
So you married after you came back from Rio. How long were you married?
I met my husband in Rio.
Right.
And a couple of years before we got married, I came back to the States, and he's from Chicago.
Good place to be.
From Chicago, and I went right to work here. I went to work in Washington, and my husband proceeded to get a job in Washington also. So then we were married here. We were married here at the Walter Reed Chapel, as a matter of fact. And lived in Washington. Of course, I was working at the FBI, and my husband had another job. In fact, he was working. You remember the store called Woodward and Lothrop?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Woodward and Lothrop. It was a department store here, a big department store.
Oh, yes, Woody's.
Yes. Yeah, Woody's. Well, my husband worked there when I was working for the government, yeah. When we were first married. But
what brought you to Greenspring?
Let me see. I know we were in the process of thinking about selling our house and moving because I have eye problems. I can't see, but I have very fragile eyesight. I can only see basically out of one eye. And the other eye some, but not very much. So we were thinking about that. My husband was thinking, we better go somewhere where I would have care if anything happened to him. And it is a blessing I'm here, because he died shortly after we came here. And so it gave me a good place to live. And I'm very happy to be here, as a matter of fact, because the care is good, and not being able to see, well, I can see, but I can't see well. And so I'm very glad I am at Greenspring, and I would recommend it for anyone who's in my circumstances.
So before we let you go, can you give us one piece of advice other than what you've already said in terms of helping us to achieve your landmark?
Oh, that's a big honor you're giving us there. Not really. I think each individual has to decide for him or herself what he or her want, what kind of life they want. Well, I knew that I couldn't live by myself because of my sight problem, which would get worse as time went on. And so we came here and looked at Greenspring and decided this was the place for us. So we sold our house to get the money to come in here. Otherwise, we could not have moved in here. We didn't have that kind of money. So we made the decision, and it was a difficult one for my husband, much more than for me, because he loved his home and he loved his flowers. We had a lot of flowers, and it was difficult for him. But he did it, and but I've forgotten just how long he was here, not too long, but he died shortly after we came here. I mean, shortly after we came. So I've tried to make myself a good life here, and it has been good for me.
And I know you have people who come in and help you. You have a friend, Patricia's in the
Oh,
studio
I have
with
lots
us.
of friends. Because I'm fortunate that I've lived in this area. So I have people who come to see me, whereas I talk to other residents and they never have anyone because they didn't live here, which makes a big difference. So my whole life has been in this area, just about my whole life here, and then of course Richmond is a little way away. But I'm at home here, and everyone doesn't have that. And I think that's a big advantage if you can settle in an area where you have friends who maybe come to see you sometime or call you. It helps to make these last years of your life much happier and better than if you live someplace completely strange. And I think you would understand that.
And I want to thank you for taking the time to come and talk to us and share some of your experiences with us. And I hope you live many, many, many more years and keep doing what you're doing.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate, I feel it was an honor that you selected me to come in.
Well, it's not every day we get to talk to someone who's 105. And you look absolutely terrific. If I took your picture and showed it to all my friends and my kids and I said, how old do you think this lady is? I bet you no one would even come close to guessing that you're in your hundreds. They'd probably say you were in your 80s. Wouldn't you agree, Patricia?
Well, thank you very much. Well, I've been blessed, like I say, with good health. That's the number one to start. Well, I guess the type of life you lead has a lot to do with your health. And then your general makeup that you can't always control, of course, which adds to your life. So I've been blessed in so many ways.
I would agree with that sentiment. So thank you again, Louise, and congratulations on your achievement. May you live to have many more healthy and fulfilling days. Well,
thank you very much. I feel honored to have been asked to do this. I didn't know what you'd ask or what I'd say, but anyway, I feel honored to have been here. And I wish you much success in whatever you do in life in the future.
Thank you. So that's going to do it for us here on Village in Motion. I thank you for being with us, and I hope you have a good day.